To start off the show, we are introduced to our main character, Sakamoto, and he is known as the world's greatest assassin. And we get put straight into some action as these guys are here to kill none other than Sakamoto. But as we're gonna find out just in a moment, they seriously underestimated Sakamoto's abilities. Sakamoto starts off by deflecting 4 of their bullets, as Sakamoto then dashes in, slicing one of their necks, showing this guy why he's the world's greatest assassin. Sakamoto then finishes off the other guy, before moving on to the other two. Sakamoto then proceeds to dodge this guy's attacks and then hangs him, packing him up. After eliminating that guy, Sakamoto does a superhero landing trying to get style points. Sakamoto then finishes the other guy and then pulls out a sword to finish the deal. The show then introduces us to Shin, the mind reader. So Shin basically states that Sakamoto is washed and he is no longer as good as he used to be. And now Sakamoto spends most of his days working and being a family man. Shin further states that Sakamoto has retired from being a mercenary. But now Shin has arrived to try to change his mind about retiring. But while Sakamoto was working, this kid spilled ink on this guy, staining his white pants. The guy then gets angry and grabs the kid. Seeing this, Sakamoto's wife then tells Sakamoto to intervene, in which Sakamoto does by grabbing the guy's arm. Sakamoto then stabs him in the neck before he can react. But then we see later on that it was just his imagination as Shin was reading his mind. Shin then goes on to introduce himself to Sakamoto and his family. After Shin introduces himself to Sakamoto, they then go on to discuss why Shin is actually here. Shin then goes on to tell Sakamoto that the organization that he used to work for wants him to start working again. But Sakamoto states that he is completely retired from being an assassin, which this answer pisses off Shin. He wonders how is this the same Sakamoto that he once knew, the world's greatest assassin reduced to a family man. But despite Sakamoto's appearance, he still has the abilities of the world's greatest assassin. Sakamoto then goes on to show Shin the value of a mundane life, helping out the community but also pissing Shin off. After this interaction with Sakamoto, Shin then leaves to inform his boss of the news. After reaching his car, Shin then begins to fanboy over Sakamoto. I'm only gonna let this slide cause I fuck with Shin, but he's a grown ass man, he can't keep getting away with this. After completely fanboying, Shin then receives a call, and his boss basically tells him that if he doesn't kill Sakamoto, then he has an army of men ready to do the job. After hearing this news, Shin pleads with his boss to spare Sakamoto's life, but his boss is not going. So he tells Shin that he has to kill Sakamoto or he'll just send the army to kill him. Later that night, Shin contemplates what his boss told him, and he decides that he has to be the one that kills Sakamoto rather than the others killing him. Shin then has a flashback on how Sakamoto was back in the day when he was his mentor. After this, Shin is now very determined to kill Sakamoto. Shin feels it's more fitting that he kill Sakamoto seeing as he was his mentor. So with this motivation, Shin picks up his gun and readies himself to do the job. With all the courage in the world, Shin walks up to Sakamoto's store. He disrespectfully walks past Sakamoto's wife, ready to get the job done. And although Shin has the ability to read people's mind, he still doesn't stand a chance against Sakamoto, and we're gonna see that right now. After entering the store, Shin then begins to inform Sakamoto that he was about to leave. Hearing this, Sakamoto then prepares for an attack. After using his ability, Shin then realizes Sakamoto is on the attack. Shin then ups the blick, ready to put Sakamoto down. But right as he fires the gun, Sakamoto releases a ball of gum. This ball of gum then goes on to deflect the bullet, which I find completely insane, by the way. But anywho, after getting his bullet completely deflected, Shin is in complete shock, which I mean, he has all rights to be. Paying no mind to this, Shin then reloads his gun, as Sakamoto throws a popsicle distracting him, just long enough for him to get away. Shin then goes looking for Sakamoto, and all I have to say is this is not how you look for somebody. But anyways, Sakamoto tosses another snack distracting Shin. He then charges in that direction trying to find Sakamoto. But that was all a part of Sakamoto's plan, as Sakamoto arms himself with a rubber band and another ball of gum. But with Shin's abilities, he's just barely able to escape and form a counterattack. But Sakamoto is also ready, arming himself with custard, which somehow worked. There you have it, guys. If you're ever in a situation where you got a gun pointed at you, whip out some custard. But the custard actually distracts Shin just long enough for Sakamoto to land a devastating kick to his head. Shin opens his eyes, wondering where he is. As he gets up, he realizes he's in Sakamoto's store. To be more specific, the top floor. But they actually welcome Shin with food. But Shin isn't too keen on eating the food. He thinks the food is poison, but he decides if Sakamoto was gonna kill him, he would've did it already. So he musters up all his courage and eats the food. But instantly, he realizes that the food is actually delicious. He then truly understands why Sakamoto retired. After the amazing meal, Shin and Sakamoto then give each other their farewells. But then Sakamoto points to a sign that says, "We hope to see you again." With this, Shin leaves. We then see that Shin is at the base, and his boss is not too happy that he came back without Sakamoto being dead. But Shin then begins to plead for Sakamoto's life once again. And he even states that he would give his own life just for Sakamoto's. And this is why I like Shin, he's a ride or die homie. So the boss says go ahead. But what he forgot was that Shin has the ability to read minds. So when he ups the blick, he has everybody shook. Meanwhile, Sakamoto is listening in on all of this. So Sakamoto goes John Wick mode and shows us his incredible stash of weapons. He then arms himself for what he's about to do. Meanwhile, Shin is fighting for his life. I mean, it's not looking good. It's like a 30v1. I don't like those odds. But Shin shows us why he's Himothy, taking out 4 of the henchmen before pulling off Juke of the Century, leaving this guy straight confuzzled and paralyzed. This guy will never be an assassin again. Then this level 10 mafia boss comes up with an RPG, but Shin has spider senses, and even though he does, I thought it was GG's. I guess Shin is Spider-Man because he is also RPG proof. And the mafia boss is trying to help this guy, but he will never recover from what he just suffered from. They then spread out to go look for Shin. Shin then pops out from the roof. It's confirmed. Shin is actually Spider-Man. He then gets a double kill and then realizes he's on his last mag. So this is his last stand. So he readies himself and charges in. He gets a double kill, but in the process, he ends up getting shot in his leg. And after getting shot, it was
game over.
Sakamoto then pulls up and solos 2 people. Sakamoto is another W homie. After electrocuting these people, he then goes on to uppercut this guy and then blow out his back. After saving Shin's life, Sakamoto then begins to aura farm. Like, all of this was not necessary. He could have just dodged the bullets. After aura farming, Sakamoto then body flickers, leaving this guy shook, before grabbing him and throwing him into 2 other people. Got them boys looking like bowling pins. Then this guy charges in like he didn't see his homeboys get cooked, so he gets actively launched into space. And then Sakamoto is just sitting there casually like he didn't just launch a grown man over 30 feet in the air. The rest of the NPCs then begin spraying that whole clip. And we already know that Sakamoto has a Hall of Fame badge on deflecting bullets. So needless to say, that doesn't work, as both of these grunts were easily dispatched. And by the time the reinforcements arrived, Sakamoto was already in the air. I mean, it's already GG's at that point. If you see a man that big, that high in the sky, it's raps. What Taylor Swift said, "I came in like a wrecking ball." That's exactly what Sakamoto did. He got these boys in absolute fear. And for good reason, because these boys get absolutely chucked. And I mean, just look at the distance of that throw. Somebody gets Sakamoto a contract. After throwing those boys in the bin, he then poses like a retired father, which I mean he is. Sakamoto then dashes in, dismantling this guy's gun. And it's raps for him. He should at least try to run. But it's too late for that. Sakamoto dismantled his gun and his face. And then bro's buddy comes up from behind trying to shoot Sakamoto, only to get put in a blender. Seeing how all his grunts got packed up, the boss is scared as hell. So him and the last 2 grunts get ready to face Sakamoto. And we see him just walk up and whip out these 2 daggers, and just from him whipping it out, I knew it was raps. The boss and his grunts then start letting off shots. But as we can see, Sakamoto is a part of Weave Nation as he slices the boss's gun, leaving him looking like a child from beyond scared straight. Sakamoto then cuts them all down, packing them all up in one slice. Sakamoto just dealt with all 3 of them in the most efficient way possible. After packing up the whole mercenary squad, Sakamoto then poses up for the flick. After thanking Sakamoto for saving him, Shin gets offered a job at Sakamoto's store, which at first leaves Shin confused, but then when we cut to the next day, we see that he actually started working at the store. This is actually the end of the video, but if you enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe, and do everything that's good for the channel. It's very hard for me to make videos on my phone, and I hope you guys enjoyed.